Hey, I got another one for you guys here on Monday morning. Now, I just did one earlier. You'll go, if you want to go watch it, if you haven't seen it yet. It's LRPD cop caught stealing, still worked as a cop. And in that video you saw where in the bar manager said, "That's him. He's a cop. Are you kidding me?" And the sergeant, this Allison Walton of Little Rock Police Department, said, "That goes nowhere." Okay, we don't talk about that. And the fact that he had some drinks, that goes nowhere. All right? It's hush, hush. We don't tell nobody he's a cop. She should be fired too. But they're trying to hide it. They're trying to cover their butts and say, well, let's not say he's a cop. And then he's allowed to resign after working for more than a month. Anyway, go watch that one if you haven't seen it. This one kind of along the same lines of police trying to cover their butts. And who do you believe? Now, this one has referenced Dallas Police Department and member Officer Brian Reiser, former Officer Brian Reiser, who was charged with ordering the death of Albert Douglas and Lisa Syons. And the three men were arrested, and they said, well, the cop told us to do it. And then, of course, the charges were all dropped, and he was allowed to walk free, and said, I told him from the beginning I was innocent. Now, of course, I don't believe police officers when they write stuff down or when they say stuff, because cops lie all the time. But that's right, cops lie all the time. So who do we believe here, the police chief and his detectives? Or do we believe former police officer Brian Reiser? The best that I can do right now is to believe Brian Reiser and to say he's innocent. I mean, Judge Kemp said there's insufficient evidence for probable cause here. So as far as I'm concerned, this guy's innocent. But let's look at what Chief Eddie Garcia is saying. Coming to us from NBC DFW, that's NBC Dallas, Fort Worth, Dallas Police Chief Eddie Garcia says he was disappointed to learn the charges were dropped Thursday against a former police officer arrested and accused of capital murder. Garcia reiterated a statement from the department released on Wednesday, saying the department respected the judge's decision, but that they had a probable cause affidavit approved by a judge before placing Officer Brian Reiser under arrest, and they could not have been arrested without the affidavit. Get back to that.
A month after firing and charging an officer that he said had no business wearing a uniform, new Dallas Police Chief Eddie Garcia is now facing some scrutiny of his own. The former officer he fired has been released from jail. CBS 11's J.D. Miles tonight reporting on the tough questions Chief Garcia faced today about his handling of the capital murder investigation involving Brian Reiser.
Well, first of all, let me just say, disappointed in yesterday's ruling. There's no question, I'm not going to lie about that.
Eddie Garcia deflected any blame for his department's handling of the Brian Reiser investigation during a news conference at police headquarters. Garcia spoke for the first time since the judge's decision yesterday to release a former officer from jail, citing insufficient evidence and factual errors in the original arrest warrant.
Garcia said it was an order from State District Judge Tammy Kemp that caused Reiser's arrest after she signed the original probable cause document March 3rd. Eddie Garcia said we could not have made an arrest on that case had not a judge agreed with the police department that there was probable cause. Judge Kemp also signed a second probable cause affidavit April 5th that had errors from the original document removed.
We're human beings, and the detective made a mistake, admitted his mistake, and corrected it.
Even the Dallas County DA agreed with the judge that Reiser should be freed after a month behind bars, despite what DPD continues to believe.
We're going to continue to thoroughly investigate this case. I support the work that our detectives did.
Reiser has been under investigation since 2019 for supposedly ordering the murders of two people. DPD filed capital murder charges only days after the new chief learned about it. The homicide detective over the case testified that he was not ready to file charges at the time and that it was higher-ranking officers who decided to charge Reiser. Reiser's attorney says if that's true, It sends a dangerous message to the community.
Someone, if you can charge a police officer on such thin evidence, what can you do to a regular citizen?
But I think we all know how the system works. I can't order an arrest, even if I wanted to. What we did say to do was to write a statement of probable cause, present it to a judge to see if we could make an arrest.
Now, I did both an editorial when he was arrested and charged with murder, and I did the editorial when the charges were dropped. Reason I'm doing this editorial now is because Eddie Garcia then came out and said, I'm very disappointed. We had an affidavit signed on March 3rd that said there was probable cause, and then, oops, we had to do one April 5th because there were errors, and she signed that one too, that there was probable cause. But now he's disappointed because Judge Moorhead said, you know what, I agree with the prosecutors, there's insufficient evidence for probable cause. So who do you believe here? Do you believe Brian Reiser actually did it, or do you think that maybe he is innocent and he was just being railroaded by these three idiots who wanted to accuse him? Well, he told us to do it, and maybe he didn't. Maybe he had nothing to do with it. We don't know. But the thing is, before you guys jump on the he's guilty train, Eddie Garcia said there was a probable cause affidavit. We couldn't have arrested him without a probable cause affidavit. Come on now. Well, hold on a minute. Come on now, police chief. How many no-knock warrants have we seen where they were in the wrong house? Or how many arrest warrants where they arrested the wrong person and the detective said, oh, I tried to take a shortcut. I guess it was too short. I mean, March 3rd, Judge Kemp signs the order. April 5th, they go, we got some screw-ups. We gave you a new one. Here's one without the errors. And she signs that one too. Why? Because that's what judges do. They're going to sign the arrest affidavit. Sure. Sure. Watch the movie Dark Blue, I think it's called, with Kurt Russell, where he goes and meets the judge in the bar and he's like drinking and he signs a thing. You know, that may be a movie, but that's kind of realistic. You take an arrest affidavit to a judge, and a lot of cases, that judge is going to sign it and go, go. You don't believe me? Then go Google no-knock warrant, wrong house, and see how many stories you get. How many people were arrested, and they're not even guilty? Well, our detectives did the... Yeah, okay. The guy jogging down the street with a beard. And they grab him and say, you got to be the guy. And they try to shove him into the car. And he's like, he doesn't want to go. Because why? He's just an innocent guy jogging down the street. Then they say, well, he was a black guy that could have looked, he could have been like the guy that did the crime. And then they show the picture of the actual suspect and he's clean shaven. What, he grow a beard in 30 minutes? That was in San Antonio, Texas, where the police chief, McManus, said, if the guy just would have went along, it'd have been over in a minute. Yeah, but this isn't Moscow. This is the United States of America. So I wanted to bring this to your attention and see how you guys feel about it. This police chief, who says, well, we had an arrest affidavit. Come on. Yeah, but you had to have it submitted twice just to get the guy arrested. Because the first one was effed up. Snafu. What do you all think? Let me know in the comment section below. Community Leo Watch, watching Leos. That's law enforcement officers, to include police chiefs that go oopsie and from coast to coast.